So, poems and my to-be speech. I dwell by the calm and ever-flowing waters, for be it known, I send love to all our sons and daughters. Through our imagination, we begin the process of manifestation. Remember, love, compassion, and forgiveness pave the way to our new planetarian nation. For all those still suffering amidst the earth, no physical thing can sum up one's worth. May you find comfort in these words and faith in what you cannot see. Look to your inner child for hope and courage of what could be. For in thy light, a divinely cosmic soul resides a kingdom of one's etheric soul. I call upon the powers of Elohim, energies of flight, flow, flame, earth's unified form. Let the wounds within me heal to but a scar. Now humanity and thy earth shall rise like the morning star. As thy soul navigates through the demiurge, I now synergize Sophia, the Christ frequency, for I am fearless, allowing the twin flame merge, calling back lost fragments and codes of empathy. With gratitude, love, and faith, I reside in infinity, for I am protected in the Akash for all eternity. So, planetarians, the world as in not just one country, stands at the dawn of a new decade, a new year, a new age. We are so disconnected within the way of the cosmos, the earth, the plants, and the animals, as well as with humanity as a whole. People these days at our ever-present and demanding struggle to feel worthwhile and of true worthiness, for at present too many are only deemed worthy in terms of their family name, financial and material standings, or for their status career-wise. Let me tell you, true worth is found in a person's personality, emotional value to another, as well as in what someone does. And or actions in reflection to another, as well as in one's resilience. The problem with how one sees themselves worthy is focused too much on egotistical accomplishments and their outer world. Too many, when choosing a life and career path, focus on either what society, family, or friends deem to be worthy, or what will pay them the most financially, so they can accommodate their ever-present and growing wants. To be selfish is not necessarily bad, as you are taking care of yourselves. To be selfless is to take care of others. It's about finding the balance. By many focusing on all of their wants and not their needs, we then fail to aid the needs of a stranger. Needs such as food, safety, a home, mental and medical support, and it's my belief these are a necessity. To stand for correct righteousness is to stand for one, and to stand for unity, and should be to stand for all who show self-reflection, self and environmental growth, and who seek wisdom, wonder, and a wholesome will. Well, now we are given the choice to stand as planetarians who know the way of nature. Please know, in these words I do not describe any one individual, however every single human will have responses, both negative and positive. For what I say will feel like at times a judgment upon thee, but I know through self-experience, self-reflection, and self-introspection. In other words, I have at one point in my life most likely been that very judgment I am describing. The human soul once existed only in higher dimensions, when the soul became split, thus creating the three-dimensional human spirit. The human spirit became susceptible to pain, suffering, emotions, and true free will. Free will gave way to sin, cause and effect, karma. If we truly wish for unity, to do not free will, but thy Creator's will, we need to do insightful introspection into oneself and how one goes about free will in life. The states of nature. The first being of matter, mineral, or element. The second being the nature of the plant or ecosystem, and together with the first create a beloved earth. A plant's nature is to grow, to nurture, to heal, and to seed or flower. The third being the animal nature. In fact, these steps of nature withhold some of our greatest lessons. If the animal is predatory, it creates the emotion or energy motion of fear and survival. This is such a lesson, for this is where we currently stand. So back to the basics. The blood of the earth, such as oils, gas, and minerals. We are callously and recklessly raping the earth of its core essential, and in return filling it with massive amounts of rubbish and landfill. If you look at nearly all of the animal, aquatic, and insect kingdoms, basically all of them don't demolish their environment and coexist with nature or even help it thrive. If you look at many of the cities, this is certainly not the case. Animals are either pushed out of their natural habitat or find a way to live alongside the lofty human. Metal and cement and plastics are overused, but the constant fossil fuels and greenhouse gases emitted are of staggering amounts. In life, we as adults, parents, or by our own choice, operate on a theory of test or prototype things. When it comes to mentality, when it comes to things of somewhat importance, we tend to have a trial or test type thing before we are given or obtain the real thing, whether it be a toy car, a pet, or even a rocket. So I like to think of our Earth's history as the dimension of trial and error, problem and solution. Challenges, mistakes, choices, failure and success. In all manner of speaking. In all manner of speaking, from one's thoughts and thoughts to one's actions, how we treat plants to animals and our environment, to how we treat our own body and others. So we all sin. Sin to me is to think, speak, or act in a way that was somewhat wrong or resulted in a not favourable outcome, or one in which was for self-satisfaction at the cost to the creation or unity of others. If we look at how we as in humanity have colonized the earth thus far, it has been with a mindset of building community. More so if you look at how we live, at least in the Western world, the city or town is broken down into many suburbs. Each suburb is for the most part a copy of the very suburb next to it, containing homes, units, accommodations, schools, hospitals, defence force, shops and sporting grounds or park life. As much as one may feel like a part of their community, we go about our lives still strangers to all around us, whether it be any of the states of nature down to other human beings. I hope in the future, instead of suburb copying suburb, which is based on capitalism, we instead start to form a more cohesive and form of existence with our environment, states of nature, and what each terrain can be best utilized for. We are meant to be the keepers of the earth, the caretakers of the states of nature, and ultimately, in return, Mother Earth, Gaia, is our caretaker in return. When you say grace, it is a sacred prayer to respect the life force and energy of that in which you are about to synergize with your vessel. When you nurture something in growth, the need not matter, both the time, efficiency, and reach of perfection of the outer product. Sadly, much of what we eat is of our accelerated quality, and which robs it of the life force's sacred energy. My favourite book is The Little Prince, for in it you learn what is essential is invisible to the eye. And what makes the Little Prince's rose special is the time in which he cared and nurtured his rose. The same scenario applies to the earth, plants, animals, and our fellow humans. When I walk amongst nature, I like to run my hand over the trees and plants, and if I come across an animal's corpse, I like to bury it, just like you would if it were a pet. Looking at the masses' food intake, I realize the lack of both gratitude and respect when preparing, harvesting, or ingesting foods in all manners, as the life force of many animals, fruits, vegetables are cared for with their primary focus on material profit rather than spiritual or physical transformation. If you were to take leaves and plant them expecting them to grow, you would surely be disappointed. I look at what we put in our bodies as the same. Meat, dairy, cereals, and much more of what we expect to enrich our body, I believe only sustains it. If you feed your body that in which is dead or decaying, it is harder for that to then transform such foods into enriching life force energy. I look at the manipulation and slaughter of animals as highly predatory and somewhat atrocious.